Hey guys, so just going to quickly go over one example of a more complicated energy from fuels example, just to show you that this could basically happen. Um, there are situations where it's not water that they are heating up in the example or the question or whatever it is. It could be something else. So let's have a read through this question. So mineral oil has a specific heat capacity of 1.67 kilojoules per degree Celsius per kilogram. If 5 grams of butane, when burned, heated 200 grams of mineral oil from 20 degrees to 55 degrees, then how much energy was released? Now, imagine the setup of the diagram with your spirit burner, tripod, and the beaker on top. The only difference in this example is instead of water in that beaker, there's mineral oil. Mineral oil. Yeah. So that's the only difference. Apart from that, we're going to do everything else the same. So we're going to create our data list. Energy, E, is the thing we are trying to work out. C is the specific heat capacity. Now, every other example we've done so far includes water. We're not using water, we're using mineral oil here. Okay, and mineral oil, it tells us, is 1.67. Okay, unless the question is asking you to work out C, which I've only ever seen one example of before, it will always give you the specific heat capacity. You don't need to know any specific heat capacities. Even water, 4.18 in your data booklet, you don't need to know that. So yeah, don't get tricked out by thinking that, and make sure you're aware, what are we heating up here? If it's water, great, carry on. If it's not, then look for other information and work it out. Okay, mass. Remember, mass is always the thing. It's always the mass of the thing being heated. So it's the mineral oil we are heating here. So 200 grams. Remember, we need to change that into kilograms. 0.2 kilograms. Change your temperature is 35. Okay. Then we just do the calculation as always. Energy equals Cm delta T. The only difference is instead of 4.18, we put 1.67. If you calculate that out, that gives you 11.69 kilojoules. And that's the answer. Okay. As I said earlier, these aren't much more difficult than other types of calculations. The only difference is we're not using water, we're using something else. Okay, so keep that in mind. You may have to rearrange. It might give you the specific heat capacity for olive oil, and it might ask you what mass of olive oil was used, and then you would need to rearrange and stuff. You know that you've did that last week. Okay, don't get tripped up. For your notes, can you just take down this slide? And that's all the notes I'm going to ask you to take. Feel free to go away, try the calculations, try them as best as you can. The live, which happens in the second period, that's the time for us to go over anything if you are really confused. And I'll stick on after everyone's kind of done if you're extra confused, so that I can go through things with you. Okay? Right. Thanks, guys. See you in a bit.